pass you Isaiah. We'll start with you, Isaiah.
Now that Oklahoma Week's here, how do you feel about it? And just kind of give an early evaluation, if you could, and what you've seen from them.
Oops. Yeah, I mean, really good football team, complete football team in all three phases. Return game, they're dangerous. Offensively, obviously, it all starts with Mateer, the quarterback, and what he does. And they've got a bevy of running backs, and Burks on the outside that plays extremely well. They move the tight end who was at linebacker, Kanik, to tight end, number 12, and he can find space, he can find areas, and they do a good job of spreading the field and playing with a little tempo, playing not with tempo. So really good. And defensively, they're fast. I know Brent. I've known Brent obviously for a long time, and much respect to a lot of people on their staff. Brent was my defensive coordinator. Kevin Wilson's on their staff now. He was my offensive coordinator. Joe John Finley is the tight end coach. He was the tight end when I was playing there. DeMarco Murray was the running back when I was there, and he's the running back coach. So a lot of people that I know on the staff and have a lot of respect for. And it's a great town, great place, but this is about the kids. It's not about me. It's not about any return to home for me. It's about the players on our football team going to go try to win a game.
We'll stay on the left there with John.
Could you talk a little bit about Marvin Klein's start, and especially the offensive aggressiveness on the play where you dug away from the end zone there?
Yeah, I think Marlon has just worked himself into the position that he is in now. He's been in a room with guys like Luke Schoonemaker, Eric Gall, Joel Honiford, Colston Loveland. He's been in the room with some NFL tight ends and guys that have done it at a high level. So he's watched it, and even including Max. He's watched the work, watched how you're supposed to do it, and he's just gotten better and better. And really proud of what he's done, especially improving his ability as a pass catcher. We knew he could block, and he's still got stuff to work on in that phase. You don't want to ask Coach Kasul about that right now. He's grinding on him on that, but there's a standard and level of you want. But he still played really well in the run game. So to watch him perform the way he did on Saturday is what we expected. What we expected for him to do and how he wanted to perform on Saturday.
And is that a different, a little play action when you're backed up to your own goal line? Thoughts on that kind of offensive aggressiveness?
Sweet play, right? That's it. Just the way we want to call it, and when you have those looks in certain areas of the field and you can do that, and it's just, the defense gives you those looks, then you can run those type of plays. So great play design by Chip and the staff, and gutsy to call it.
On the left there, Chris.
Do you have any idea of the timeline for the bar appeal?
Yeah, literally just heard about it. So, it was upheld, and we don't agree with it. Tony doesn't agree with it. AJ doesn't agree with it. It's a rule we have to get changed and we have to look at in college football just for the general, the game, the toughness of the game and how you want to teach tackling and how you want to teach guys that are 6'3" tackling a guy that's 5'8". He lowers his head and it might be even worse. He tried to duck it to the side. The guy spins, he misses. So there's a way that we have to teach guys how to tackle and what to do. And there was a clear shot early in the game where he had a clear shot and he sawed right through the guy and avoided. He took one step and that's what happened. So that was the ruling, and we'll continue to work and fight for the game, but completely disagree with it, as did Tony and AJ with the Big Ten. So, but we got to move on. So we got the first half without him, and those guys will step up. Ernie played a heck of a game, so it was fun to watch Ernie. He's 8 tackles, and he was all over the field, leader on the team. And when Jamie Rolder came in, it was as violent as that, and he played physical and fast. And then obviously Cole Sullivan came in and made an impact. So there's 3 guys there that we feel really good about, along with Troy Bowles and Chase Taylor. So it's a deep room, and we're happy we got those guys. But obviously Jay Sean's an impact guy that we'll have ready for the second half.
Right, Tony?
Yeah, I know as much as you don't want to make the story about you, and it is a big game for the program, the team, the players. I'm just curious, when was the last time, you were back at Norman? Is this the first time that you'll ever be, I guess, quote unquote, rooting against Oklahoma? How do you sort of compartmentalize all the human emotions that do inevitably go into something like this?
Yeah, it's about my players. So there's no like emotional attachment to it. I'm emotionally attached to the players that are at Michigan. They're my kids. I see Gio back there. I've known him since he was like 15 years old, even though he looks 30. And yeah, Gio, I'm talking about Gio. But like, it's like one of my kids. So these guys are who I'm emotionally attached to more than anything. And it's going to be an awesome atmosphere, don't get me wrong. It's a great town. And obviously I got my degree from there, and there's a love there. But like these kids are what's special to me. So that's all I'm worried about. I'm worried about our players getting our team ready to go play this game.
What can you tell them about having experienced the environment and what to prepare for it?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be loud. It's a night game in an SEC environment, so it's going to be loud. So, but we played in loud environments, but we're going to have to prepare for the noise.
In the front here, Ryan.
Yes, another just quick follow-up on that. You mentioned all the connections you still have on staff. Do you foresee any communication with any of them before the game? Or?
Absolutely not.
And then going back to offensively, it seemed like what benefits of going up tempo do you foresee with this unit? It seemed like it was working pretty well for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think just any change of pace that you can have in tempo is going to help. You know, we always want to be the aggressor and keep defenses off track and on their heels. So we want to dictate the tempo, however it is, whether it's jumping to the ball as fast as we can, spreading people out, moving people around, whatever it is, we want to be able to dictate tempo. So, and that's something Chip has done with a lot of success in the past, and we want to continue to do that.
And how much can that be attributed to what Bryce can handle in his skill set?
Yeah, it's all attributed to what the quarterback can handle. So if the quarterback can't handle it, we can't do it. So he can do a lot. He's very mature for his age, but it's not only him; it's everybody else on the offense.
On the right here, Austin.
Sherrone, is there anything you can point to in your own coaching philosophy that you picked up from Bob Stoops or those guys at Oklahoma?
Yeah, I mean, Bob is like he's one of the biggest mentors I have. So there's a lot of respect and love that I have for Coach Stoops, and I'll see those guys before the game. There's no like love lost or anything. I'll see all of them before the game and say hi to them because there's memories there. But Bob. Coaching players hard and loving them is one of the things I remember Bob telling me all the time, and just the enjoyment for the game. You always have to love the game. When you stop loving and when you stop learning is when you should probably stop coaching. He was always very humble and always wanted to learn no matter who it was from. So that's something I take from him. I think as much as people think you don't really know as much as you actually think. So you got to continue to learn in this game.
On the right here, Aaron.
The velocity with which Bryce threw the football on Saturday, I think was apparent to everyone watching. How much of an adjustment was that for the receivers when he first got there?
I have to ask them. I try not to catch any footballs from Bryce or any quarterbacks anymore because I've done enough of that, like when I was coaching tight ends and all that. So, but I think he throws enough velocity, but he also has enough touch where it's not always like that. It's just when it needs to be. So they've done a good job. It seems like throughout camp and throughout spring ball, they figured out, they've got the rhythm, and there's obviously drops that we got to get corrected and things we got to do, but that's all, route spacing and timing and footwork and all those things. So we'll get those done.
Was there a throw Saturday that impressed you most?
I mean, I've seen those throws live, but to watch him do it in the game was awesome. It was cool to see him do it in the game and to watch his poise throughout the game, and it was just the poise that he had throughout the game, not just on the field, but off the field, watching the iPads and making the adjustments and talking to the team, and the kid is just cerebral, and I just tell him not to throw any more blocks.
On the right here, Larry.
Quick follow-up, maybe the touch pass to 17, favorite pass?
Favorite?
Yeah.
I like them all.
Right.
I've seen him throw every type of throw, so there's not like a favorite anymore. So, but that was the type of ball you had to throw on, else it wasn't getting completed. So it was cool to see.
So my real question, given your history there and your knowledge here, what does it mean to Michigan football and college football to have matchups like this?
Yeah, I think it's necessary. I think you have to have matchups like this in college football. Two blue blood programs going at it on a national stage. It's college game day. It's why you come to Michigan. It's probably why you go to Oklahoma, right? I mean, those are the type of games that you want to be a part of and games you remember. Obviously, every game is important. But yeah, playing against an Oklahoma, one of the winningest programs in college football, is huge to us. And to have Michigan and Oklahoma helmet on the field at the same time, what is it, the second time we've played? So it's going to be a cool matchup to be a part of.
On the left, Anthony.
Sherrone, in your coaching career, where do you feel like you've seen the most growth in teams between week 1 and week 2, and what are some of those things you'd like to see this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, that is the biggest growth you have is from week 1 to week 2, and it's multiple years. It's different things. It's when I was coaching the O-line, we try to focus on one thing that week that we get better the next week. When I was coaching tight ends, it was the same. When I was the offensive coordinator, it was the same. So it was just different themes throughout the week. And we'll have our themes and what we want to get better at. But I think you're always chasing perfection, right? So you don't really know exactly. There's not one thing that as a person you want to get better at everything. I want to get better at everything as a coach. But our players we'll give them all specific goals, what they want to get better at. And as a team, continue to trust the process, continue to be excited and be connected together, and that's going to help us win ball games.
All the way in the back, Charles.
Yeah, what have you seen from Mateer, and what do you think the defense will need to do to slow him down a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, he's an electric quarterback now. He's a gunslinger. People keep comparing him to Baker Mayfield because he's a shorter quarterback, but he's got his differences. But he's a quarterback that can make every throw, off-schedule throws. He can run the football. So we got to do a good job of keeping him off schedule, but not making sure that he can't just have free windows and covering guys up when they're downfield, because they do have speed on the outside lanes to run, and O-line is good. So we just got to do it. We just have a great plan to keep him rattled and change the picture on him so he's not comfortable.
And you mentioned your familiarity with Venables. What are you expecting that defense with him calling plays again?
Yeah, I know they're going to be fast. I know they're going to be physical. They're going to be fundamentally sound, and they're going to try to tackle as well as they can. But our job is to try to make a miss and be explosive on offense. So we got to do things to counteract his thought process and how he puts together the plan. So that's what we're going to attempt to do.
In the back, Steve.
Coach, can you please explain to me which position group has to play the best so that it takes the pressure off Bryce the most?
Yeah, all of them. They all got to play good. But you guys know me. It's going to be the old line. They got to set the tone. And I think they'll be up for the challenge. To watch them game one was fun, and to watch the 50-yard plus run that Justice Haynes had, I mean, you look at that hole, it's pretty big. So to watch them take the steps that they've had, because I know they've been criticized and said, oh, they're not as good as the 23 line. These guys are working their tails off to be really, really good. And the challenge has been set, and they're keep answering the bat to it. So I'm excited to watch them work this week and see what they do, and watch our leaders really take the next step. But the O-line, if the O-line plays how I think they will, we'll have a good day.
On the left, Joel.
You mentioned the environment at Oklahoma. What is the biggest challenge for a young quarterback going on the road for the first time? And what can you guys do to prepare Bryce for that?
Yeah, just settling in the noise. At the end of the day, it's noisy, but those fans aren't playing. It's the team that you're playing across. So they can be as loud as they want. If you're focused on the 10 guys that are with you and your job and what you have to do on that play, that's all that matters. So we can't worry about, we're going to create noise. We got ways to create loud noises for our players that make it hard for them to communicate, that they've got to speak really loud and they've got to do things to make sure they communicate to each other. So we'll handle that piece. But within the moment is not get caught up in all the extra stuff. So just execute and do your job.
Alejandro.
Speaking of your offensive line, is Andrew Sprague expect him to be good to go? And how
Yeah.
do you assess those tackles?
Yeah, he was just cramping, so a little cramp, but he's fine. Sprague is phenomenal, although Sprague. Both those guys did well. I think they just continue to get better, and moving Evan back to left was good, and they'll just continue to get better, and we'll put them in positions to be successful.
Angelique.
Sherrone, what is Rod's status and Hogan for this weekend?
Yeah, Rod is, I'd say questionable, possible. We'll see how he feels, and feel like Hogan's probable. Feel like we got a real good shot for him to play this weekend. So excited to get him back. We'll get him practicing full speed again. And he's been practicing full speed, getting contact, doing things. So, but we've been very cautious with all that. We don't want to, you know, I'm not a doctor like I always say, so I let them handle that. But he's been doing everything, and feel like we got a great shot to get him to play this week.
Also, in terms of the 2-game suspension, what went into your decision to coach these first 2 games versus the next 2?
Yeah, just, you know, I don't really want to talk about those. I just want to coach this game.
So are you going to talk about your interim after Oklahoma?
Yep.
On the right, Dennis.
Sure, you talked a little bit about the extra stuff within the ways and the atmosphere there. Venables, I would guess, would try to do a lot of pre-snap stuff with Underwood. He passed the test on Saturday, but how much freedom or what can he do at the line? Is he pretty accomplished there? Or is just, you know, first road start?
Yeah, first road start. So it's gonna be loud. It's gonna be different for him. And we've had periods in camp to train him for stuff like this already, and we'll do that all this week. So obviously it's gonna be loud. We've got to have different cadences ready for it. But for him, you know, we've got 2 veteran guys up front too. So with Gio and Crip, that allows us a lot of liberty for them to handle a lot of things that need to be changed up front. But anything that we need him to communicate, we'll see what he can handle and then go from there.
Got time for a few more, so we're gonna start with Chris on the left.
On 4th down in midfield within a yard, usually you guys go for those. What went into that decision to punt on Saturday?
Yeah, just the fact I felt like our defense was playing really well, and we were up 14-0 at the time. So we were like at the -45, and it's something like that. Yeah, and then it's like, well, then the rest spots it, and it's like 4th and 2, and then they move the stick, and it's 4th and 1. I'm like, you know what? Our defense just had a 3 and out, and then a 4 and out. Let me punt this, and let the defense stop them again, which they did. So that's, you know, it's a field position game too. Can't always go for it. I will sometimes. You know, you guys have seen that. So, and we're pretty aggressive most of the time. But I think there's ebb and flows of the game where you got to be smart on how you make those calls.
And how'd your right guards play, and is there a chance that Blake Frazier might get some time there too, or do you still like him just at tackle?
Yeah, we just like him at tackle. Both of them played well. I think Brady played a little bit better, but both of them played well. Excited to watch them, you know, work this week. But yeah, Blake will for sure play tackle.
On the left, Clayton.
3rd and 14, you know, minute and a half left in the half.
Yep.
And then you score just over a minute later with
Yep.
time to spare. I mean, how big is that quick strike ability?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, just the confidence for Chip to make that call and Bryce to make the throw and Channing to make the catch, but that's something they've executed in camp over and over and over. So what we like to call banked reps, you know, reps that are just put in the bank, that you keep executing, that you keep rolling, that you know they've completed. And, you know, kind of goes along with the question we had earlier about the defensive structures. Like, Wink's defense isn't very static, so we see a lot of movement, a lot. So that helps us prepare for what we're going to see throughout the season.
Last question, Isaiah.
In your experience, how about how long in season does it take for an offensive line to truly gel?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's different every year. I felt like even in 23, it was like it took some time, but in 22, it was a little faster. So it feels like these guys got a good, you know, they've got a good feeling for how they're all going to operate. But this week's going to be huge on us, you know, just making sure we communicate, we do the right things, we, you know, we just coach each other, help each other to be better.
All right, thanks everyone. Bring
Awesome.
Gio.
Thank you.